Hey, fellow humans, this is Gilbert. We are live in this Zoom pod to celebrate Women's History Month. Woohoo! To all those amazing women out there. Oh my gosh, this is just crazy, crazy, crazy fun and the absolute optimal opportunity for me personally to honor all of these women that have been part of my personal history and my personal journey. As you can imagine, you don't become CEO of a 22-year-old company by mistake. I've had a lot of support along the way, a lot of love, a lot of gratitude, and the mentorship and leadership from the women that are sitting with you in this room. Now, one thing I'm adamant about is saying thank you. I personally believe that in American culture, we don't say thank you loud enough and we don't say it often enough. So if I've ever built a slide deck for you, I'm really adamant about that very last slide, which is usually the thank you slide. It could be the second to the last slide, it could be the last slide, but I'm really adamant that clients add that big, big thank you. I've worked in, 33 countries so far, and other cultures are really, really good at saying thank you. So this is my opportunity to say thank you to all of these women in a big, big, big way. And you're going to meet each one of them here in just a moment. So join me again in celebrating Women's History Month. You'll hear us and see us on social media all month long. Now we've got a little bit of a switch in the schedule. So we are going to meet Tammy Marie Colbert first. So I'll share just very quickly how I know this amazing human, and then we'll hear from her. 2 years ago, I decided to do something absolutely crazy. And maybe some of you already know this. I stepped out onto the stage in the bodybuilding industry. So as a competitive bodybuilder in the amateur category as a woman over 50. Now I'll tell you, I had no idea what I was doing. I really had no idea. I didn't know how to train. I didn't know how to eat. I didn't really know what it meant to build muscle mass and lean down and just going through that whole journey. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to do something that's really uncomfortable for me. Maybe this will help me grow, or maybe I'll just die of fear. I don't know, one of the two. So I signed up for the competition. And I met Tammy along the way, and she was extremely encouraging. And she's so good at empowering women without competition. I love that about you. I really, really do.
Wow.
2 weeks before the show, I called her and I said, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do this. I'm not lean enough. I'm not bulky enough. My posing coach disappeared. I still don't have any idea what happened to her. So I really had no idea what I was doing. And we got on the call, and I'm probably, talking in a really panicked fashion. And she's saying to me, you can do this. Just do it. You're a woman over 50. There's hardly anybody in that category anyway. So why not give it a go? So my mantra to myself was, don't fall off the tall shoes. Don't fall off the tall shoes. Don't fall off the tall shoes. That was my only goal. I'm not even kidding you. And so that leads us to this beautiful, amazing human, Tammy Marie Colbert, who is the founder of Iron Angels. She is also a female gym owner, and she inspires women in lots and lots and lots of different ways. Her main impact, according to her, is that female empowerment. So, Tammy, I'd love to welcome you to the
Thank
stage, and
you.
we'd just like to meet you.
You're gonna make me cry all those things you said because they're so humbling. And by the way, you did awesome on stage. We just have to give you kudos for that. You took home swords. Come on, and trophies and whatever. um, I feel, I'm a mom of four. We were military for 25 years, so I didn't have a whole lot of time for myself. And my ex-husband of 25 years was a Green Beret for 15 years of that. So for me to find time for myself took a lot. And it wasn't about me having to get in shape necessarily. It was more of a mental thing for me to get into the gym and just take that few hours for myself a day to get me right. And when I started getting those endorphins up, I saw that I was a better mother. I was a better, wife. I was a better support to my friends. There was just so much to the fitness world that kept me from getting on any kind of medications for, let's say, depression, anxiety.
Mm,
Um, just being tired as a mama of four. And so basically with that said, and just to say, when I said my husband was Green Beret, he was gone 11 months out of the year. So I did everything. Um, well, once I started doing that, my goal was to compete only and at the age of 45, no less, but to give myself a goal like you did. And by doing that, I had to work harder. I had to prove myself. And once I did all of that, a photographer had reached out and said, "Hey, I want to photograph you." And I said, um, "No, I don't think so." He said, "Why not?" I said, "Well, one, I'm old. Two, I'm very modest. Three, I'm not photogenic. And four, it's a waste of your time." And he said, "Well, let me be the judge of that." He said, "I'll be coming up from California to do the Emerald Cup. Meet with me for just a couple hours and let's shoot you." So I took a friend with me because I'm like, I'm not going by myself to get shot by this photographer. I mean, he's a guy from like England or something. Who knows what he wants? So she went with me. And about 2 weeks later, he sent me those photos, and I could not believe, because I'd already seen my stage photos and I knew what I looked like, but in regular clothes or shorts and just little tank tops, I thought, "Oh my God, I look sexy in my 40s. Like what's going on here? I'm going towards 50. What I feel sexy. I feel empowered as a woman. I'm not just a mom anymore. I'm not just a wife. I feel like me. I feel like a woman." And I said to him, I called him and he laughed at me because I said, "How do I get other women to feel this?" He
Mhm.
said, "I don't know, start a calendar, start something where you get other women to do a shoot." And so I started Iron Angels. That's where Iron Angels came from. I started
Mm.
shooting women annually, and the critique for it was they had to be natural. I didn't want a competitor that wasn't natural because I've been in those circuits where I've seen what women are doing to their bodies.
Mm.
Um, but also, I wanted women to feel empowered. So when we get down these shoots once a year, I teach them how to pose. I teach them how to stick out that hip or make their shoulders look nice and shapely and things like that. But I had been a trainer for 30 some years and had never felt that about myself until I saw those photos because we're visual. Human beings are very visual. And it taught me that, when we can see ourselves not in the mirror, but not through other people's eyes, but through our own in a photo, it makes a world of difference on how we see ourselves.
Mm.
And so my goal was to empower and encourage other women, not just through fitness, but through emotional, well-being mentally, to show them that you're not just someone who services other people. You're not just a mom. You're not just a wife. You're not just a girlfriend. You're not just a worker. You are a person and you are beautiful. And we do not Photoshop anything. If you have scars, those are beautiful scars. If you have stretch marks, they're beautiful stretch marks. They go on the calendar. We Photoshop nothing because we all have a story and our stories are beautiful. And so, pretty much, I guess it's about the imperfections that make us beautiful and it makes us individuals. And that's my goal is to keep empowering women. And
Wow,
like
I
getting
love
you on
that.
and like getting
Yes,
you on
thank
stage,
you.
Kimmy, when you called me, I was like, "No, you need to get on stage. This is why you need to get on stage because you need to see yourself in a different light."
Yes, yes, it's
We
true.
lose ourselves. Yeah.
Yep. I had just been through an abusive marriage and, married to somebody that, well, I mean, just plain awful. And I was really struggling with body image issues. And I would not have done it if it weren't for you because I was really
Oh,
judgy. I was thinking, oh, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and how dare those girls get up on a stage and prance around in a bikini? I mean, that was me. I was super, super judgy
yeah.
about
Yeah.
it. And then it is so not about that. These competitors, most of them like me, are terrified to get on stage. I mean, I was
Absolutely.
terrified, and when I compete again in October, I will be terrified. So I think that is your how you have paved the way for women that are coming up the ranks behind you. That was part of the discussion today. And then that moment when you jumped into female leadership. So you have explained both of those beautifully. And I cannot thank you enough for being part of my personal leadership journey.
Well,
Now,
you
I
are
we
very welcome. And I feel just very humbled to do it. Oops, let's mute you.
okay. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I would like to ask Alice if you are ready. I know we had a little bit of a shift in schedule. Are you ready to go live?
Absolutely. Hi, everybody. I'm Alice Hyman. I live in the beautiful Sierra Nevada mountains here in Reno, Nevada. I have four grown boys and three grandchildren, and we just had a little one December 14th. So
Oh, wow.
I have 20 and 25-year-old so it's been a long time since we've had a baby grandchild. So I'm
Oh,
very
wow.
excited and it's awesome. So anyway, Kimberly, you and I have known each other a long time and been through a lot of different things together and shared, about our own lives, which I just love and adore you. And I've watched you grow your business over the years and do so many amazing things. And it's just such a pleasure to know you. In my work life, I am a sales strategist and I work with the CEOs of technology and other innovative companies to help them get their go-to-market strategy right, get that strategy set, and then help them and their senior leaders deploy the tactics. I've worked with many CEOs over the years, and I have had the pleasure of working with some female CEOs, but not as many as I would like.
Hmm.
But I'm actually working on a new project. I can't tell you too much about it now, but I will keep you in the loop for 2026 to work with more female CEOs. So I'm
Oh,
very excited about that. And I just wanted to share a little bit about my leadership path today also. I think that my role as a leader started when I was very young. My parents got divorced when I was 10, and my dad wasn't around much anyway. So my mom had five children. I'm the second oldest. I always say, well, I'm the oldest because my older brother doesn't count because I have to take care of him too. So I hope he's not listening, but he knows it. So anyway, I took care of all the other kids, and because my mom had to work and my dad was not around. And so I naturally had to lead because you're trying to get your younger siblings to do what you need them to do, and you're not the mom, you're not the boss. So you have to lead. And I think that's one of the most important things I teach about leadership. You don't have to be the boss to be the leader. And I
oh.
think it's something everyone needs to grab a hold of, especially in this new era of AI. And the future is, things are changing so quickly, and the future is going to look maybe different than we thought it would, especially for us baby boomers who we maybe didn't think this far ahead, right? Even though we had a lot of movies about robots and AI, but here it is now in our lifetime, right? And I think that we have to think about things differently. I heard a futurist the other day, Alicia Abbate. She was amazing. And she said, we lived in the industrial revolution of a linear world, very linear, used to that. We moved into an exponential world, and now we're moving into a quantum world. And so, what does that mean for our leadership? We used to have a pyramid for leadership, right? There was someone at the top and layers down, and we supported that. Well, now she's asking us to think about leadership really more the way I've always thought about it. It's an affinity loop. You lead when you need to lead, and you let others lead when they need to lead. Because when we do what we're best at, right, everybody benefits. And so that's really, how I've always thought about it and how I've led since I was a small child, leading my own family, not being the boss, but being the leader through school. And then when I was a teacher before I went into business, I always had this idea that you don't have to be the boss to be the leader, and it worked for me. I was able to gather people who believed what I believed and move them forward, and it's just been such a pleasure for me to be able to do that in my life and always be able to share that notion so that people feel like they can stand up and lead even when they were not told to or when they were not the chosen one, right? So that's really my path to leadership. I was maybe just pushed into it because it was a necessity, but I grabbed onto it and kept doing it. And I think, now today, thinking about the many women that I've mentored, including the women in my own family, um, and and Kimberly and some others. I have always shared that idea with them, and I have always shared with them that there is no one right way to lead. And I think we have to continue to say that to everyone because we live in a very patriarchal society, although it may be changing some. And again, those of us who have been around a bit, we've seen some changes and then some sliding back. But when we look at the male leader as our only role model for how to lead, that doesn't work because women do not lead like men.
Mhm.
And what's interesting about it, my friend Jennifer Kinney always says, you know, we ask women, why are you better at leading? Or why do women lead the way they lead? People don't have any answers for it. And it hasn't been researched. We know how men lead, right? But how do women lead? And so we have to pave our own way and we lead in our own way. And that's what I'm trying to teach the women that I mentor. You choose how you lead. There are some role models out there that you can look at, but you have to do it in your own way. And that's what will make you the best leader, not trying to do it someone else's way. And I believe that they believe they can because I do.
Oh, I love that, Alice. That's so, so, so powerful. And I love your message. Would you say that Tammy's message resonates with yours in that females, especially, need to feel empowered in their own bodies and feel good about themselves, not necessarily walking onto a stage with nary more than a piece of thread and a sparkle, but in that manner, that female empowerment in order to lead the way that you are detailing, which is amazing, by the way. Absolutely love your message. And I'll just take a step back and say that Alice and I have known each other for a good number of years. We were introduced by, I believe, a colleague, and Alice just kind of took me under her wing. And I'm looking at you like, oh my gosh, this woman is so amazing. Why would she even care about me? I'm just this little teeny peon in the business world. I mean, I've always been really, really good at what I do as far as
Yes.
webinars and training and coaching and all that good stuff. But I really just learned so much from you. And I really want to honor you for that because I think many women don't necessarily have that opportunity to connect with an Alice Hyman, but maybe you do. Maybe you have somebody in your tribe that you think that you'd like to connect with. And I would say, as a female leader myself, just ask. We just learned this in our podcast training. Just ask. If somebody said to me, hey, I'd like you to mentor me, I would be over the moon about it. And if I had time and I could fit it into my schedule, I would. So, Alice, thank you again. You've just always been such an amazing leader. If you are a CEO and you are interested in, help me say this right, sales strategy, sales
Hmm.
leadership, any other buzzwords you want to throw in?
That's good. Go to market strategy. Yep.
Okay, I love that. This is the only person to hire, you guys. If you are a CEO, you have got to contact Alice. So we'll provide the details in the show notes in just a little bit. So when we get to the end of the program, we'll give everybody all the details for how to contact you. Thank you again
Thank
for your
you.
time. I know that you are so busy and I'm so grateful for you. And with that, let's move on to our next guest, who is Candace Cox. Now, let me just tell you, Candace, I know Candace is trying to be retired. One of her hashtags is going to be hashtag learning to be retired. This gal is an absolute go-getter and a role model for so many female leaders in so many ways. I think all of you so far have worked in primarily male-dominated industries. A gym owner, a CEO teaching sales strategy, Candace working in the education industry and in the big business industry. So we met by Candace reaching out on LinkedIn, by the way, and looking for somebody to manage a very large number of webinars for her very large client. We won't say any names. There was really no reason for Candace to trust me as a small business owner. other than maybe, I had a few good reviews and I had some really great references, and she trusted me. I think that's a little bit of a hiccup for some women to trust another woman, which is a whole other episode about female empowerment. But she did. So thank you so much for trusting me, and just give us a little bit more information about your path into leadership. And I already know how you're paving the way for those of us that are coming up the ranks behind you, but we'd love to hear that story from you.
Thank you, Kimberly. Appreciate it very much. Kimberly had asked me recently what led me to become a female leader. And frankly, I was blessed with two good, healthy, smart parents that particularly my mom had a curiosity about her personality, and also was a strong supporter for other women. So that is in my DNA. She grew up in a very small town in Iowa. Her mother had a college degree. Her father had an 8th grade education, but education was everything to them. So they did what they needed to do to get all four kids through college. My mom went to the University of Iowa in Iowa City during World War II. And it was almost exclusively women because all of the men had been shipped out. And at freshman orientation, the person in charge said, look at the girl on your left, look at the girl on your right. Know that 2 of the 3 of you will not graduate. The implication, of course, was message, you'll just leave and get married. Well, thankfully, mom was the one who stayed. She got her 4-year degree in business administration, and she was the one out of the 3 that made it. After the war ended, my dad came back from the Pacific, they got married, and now mom was helping my dad get his degree at college, so she was the president's secretary. And they moved back to Des Moines. She was a reference librarian, which is perfect for somebody with a lot of curiosity. I don't know if you remember the old school before computers. She was at a desk at the main library, and people would come up and ask questions of all sorts, and she got to go research and find the answer. So you can imagine the interesting stories that we heard at dinner time.
I love that.
She then became legal secretary for a partner at a major law firm in Des Moines, and she did most of his legal work after lunch when he and the others had the 3 martini lunches. But during all this, she became active in American Association of University Women, AAUW, which has been around since 1882.
Oh, wow.
And it advocates for women and girls by mainly funding scholarships, research, and policy that impact women. So needless to say, she was my mentor that my whole growing up and beyond, I was very adamant about women's rights. She marched to ratify the ERA when she was in her 60s. She started a new AEW branch when they retired down to Arizona. She lived to be 99 years old, and her mind was still sharp as ever. So I continue to try and fight the good fight for women's rights. And I correct people if they call women girls. It's okay to call us gals. It's okay to call us women. It's okay to call us ladies. Don't call us girls because we don't call you boys, right?
Oh, interesting.
You know, my dad was fully supportive, no question, about my mom's belief in women's rights. And He took me hunting as I was growing up and fishing and how to swim and how to drive. Never said anything about I couldn't do something because I was a girl. I was an introvert. I've always been an introvert. That's why I was slow to mature, I would say. It was really when I went to the University of Iowa, a big liberal campus in Iowa City, 2 hours from home, and began to develop lifelong relationships with other women who helped me spread my wings and navigate both the social and academic sides of college and take a leadership role. I served as president, among other things, at the sorority, but this was in really turbulent times on campus, including within the house itself. I majored in business administration, still a male bastion in the early 70s. I was often one of maybe 2 or 3 women in class and would be called on by the professor if nobody raised their hand to answer. The guys were just relieved they weren't called on, but I was be made light of, I guess. Then I discovered marketing research, which is my strength. I love discovering. I have a propensity to ask questions versus give out answers. And I just understand why in my mom's time, the reference librarian was perfect for her because you learn such interesting things when you listen and you ask questions. Out of college, I was a pharmaceutical sales rep. First time they had started hiring women. This was in 1974. I got the Nebraska territory based in Omaha. We were recruited. There were maybe a few of us around the country, but began briefing doctors on life-saving pharmaceutical for open heart surgery, which allowed me to go in and watch open heart surgery on day one. Now, not being a science student, I was a business student. It made me a little lightheaded, but I got through it. I was sitting in waiting rooms. I was driving across Nebraska in a suit and high heels during snowstorms to catch doctors that were coming into the ER for at 4 a.m. in the morning. So I decided, no, that was not for me. So I left and spent 2 years at the University of Arizona to get my master's degree in marketing research. I took a job back in Denver in marketing research at Samsonite Luggage. My claim to fame is I was a hand model. But again, it was the corporation, there was no upward mobility for women beyond product manager. Both the executives were white, male, with stay-at-home wives.
Wow.
So I left after 3 years and I took a marketing manager position at a Denver university, promoting seminars for the business community and hiring faculty to teach them. Of course, another male-dominated environment. I don't know what I was trying to do to myself, but reported to the College of Business dean and saw 7 deans go through and leave over 12 years. Total chaos. The irony of a College of Business can't keep the executive around and trying to manage, the faculty. I think there were 100 faculty or so. Were really unstable employment for both me and my center team, because the politics on campus were really bizarre. And that's a whole nother story, but
That's another podcast.
oh my God. And I was pregnant in 1983, and my center was being taken over by three men from the Bronx. It was Tiananmen Square. Anyway, for another day. But when I was pregnant, in 108 years, the College of Business had never needed a maternity leave policy.
Oh my gosh. Wow. In 108 years?
108 years. So, of course, I was the one to create that.
So, can we safely say that you have paved the way? You've given us, I counted, I think, 12 or so examples just in this very short period of time together. And I can personally say that you have been available. I feel like I can call you, I can text you. You have just given me so much, and you have given me that female empowerment as well. And just the confidence. You've said to me several times, well, you should be doing this. And why are you not taking bigger speaking gigs? And why are you showing up at the local library? Kimberly, come on. You're better than that. You've got more to offer than that. And I so appreciate your encouragement. I think all of the stories that we've heard here today have been about that moment of leadership, how these women are paving the way for those that are coming up. They're blazing trails. These women, the women that are coming up, are going to be trailblazers as well. And these women have blazed a trail so that those of us and those that are coming behind me the journey can be a little bit safer, and it can be a little bit more informed. And we have information, and now we have connections for this tribe that we can rely on. And we'll hear from Rena Whitaker of Being Tribal. She'll be in another pod, but she's all about advancement and empowerment without competition. So, somewhere along the way, I think all of us have said we're not competing with each other. We are here to lift each other up and honor each other. Like all
Right.
three of you have said,
That's
men
right.
lead in a different way, right, Alice? I mean, you said that specifically, that men lead in a very, very different way than women, and we don't know exactly how we lead. So this takes us to the end of the program. Kathy has her own pod coming up. She was joining us today, I think, just to spy on our group, right, Kathy?
Of course. I learned a
Thank
lot
you.
today.
Thank you for spying, Kathy.
Anyway, unless we have any final closing comments, which I encourage you to do in less than about 10 seconds, I'll move us to the end of the show. Anybody have any final last words? Candace?
My final thought is start a business for yourself. That is the one security blanket that I've had for 32 years after the university life, and I've loved it.
Yes.
Yes, I'll double down on that. 31 years for me in business for myself, and it has been amazing. What a journey. And I encourage women who want to do that to find the support and go do it.
Yep.
Yes. I
That's
love that. I
fantastic.
know if Tammy were on the audio, Tammy Marie, she would say exactly the same thing.
Mhm.
For me personally, it definitely was very scary to start a business as a single mom with zero, I mean, like double $0. I had no support from family or a spouse. I had a young baby, and I did it, and I'm still here 22 years later. So I'm going to second that, Candace and Alice and Tammy. And again, thank you so much. I want to lift all of you up and honor you for the strong female leaders that you are. I hope if you are someone who is listening, you will take a look at these women, maybe follow their journey, maybe receive a little bit of a confidence boost from them, certainly an empowerment boost. Check us out. We are everythingwebinar.com online, and we are also virtual presentation skills show with Kimberly and Kathy. We're just launched on Podbean. We'll be on Apple, Spotify, all of the different platforms. We're still learning there, but we will be out there very soon. So we would appreciate your support. If there's something we can do to lift you up and honor you, reach out, share a story. Who knows? Maybe you'll end up on our podcast. So for now, this closes our session in absolute gratitude, and we'll see you the next time when we go live from the waist up.